if I traded it all, if I gave it.
Welcome back, everyone. My next guest also has not been on my show before. Got several newbies today. I have with me Greg Bennett, and he is the Operations Director of Resource Employee Care. You got to tell, did I say it right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm looking at my handwriting and hardly read it. Tell everybody, welcome you. I am so excited to have you on. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do. You got to get right into that mic.
Okay, we'll do it. Well, we've actually been here. We're a company that makes businesses better by taking custom care of their employees. So we're kind of a business set up to take care of businesses by taking care of their people, because businesses are made up of people. So what we do so far, we have about 20 clients here in the Valley, and about between 13 and 1,400 employees that we're taking care of for folks, just whatever life may bring to them. Whether they're doing something in their own life that creates some challenges, whether somebody else does that to them, or whether life is life and it needs to be dealt with.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to go more narrow and deep on what you really mean by that. When you come in, how do they start working with you? Do they need to have an issue, or what's the deal?
You know, what we do, like anything else, we want to set ourselves up to succeed, right? So the better that we get off the ground whenever we enter a business, the more comfortable people we are, and they can go ahead and get themselves taken care of effectively. But basically, we start off with a company orientation whenever we come aboard with a company, and we are basically getting ourselves in front of them. We come in every week and we say hi to each and every employee that we can. Of course, sometimes employees are going to be busy, and we just wave and keep on going and circle back if we can, or just move on out the door. We'll see them next week. But they get used to seeing our face. So for starters, we're taking a few minutes to say hi to them in that manner, and then we're making ourselves available 24/7 above and beyond. So if I've gotten calls from the ER before, I've gotten calls from home saying, hey, I can't take this anymore, whatever the case is, whether it's big stuff. We've done some suicide prevention, active stuff. We've done people that are saying my marriage is over. We've had people that are just coming to the, big stuff going on, or just drip stuff of life too. So what we do is, whether in the workplace or whether above and beyond, we're just actively helping employees.
So when you actively help them when they're going through something like that, how do you do that? I mean, by helping the employee, you're helping the business, because by helping the employee, then now the business is not dealing with that. You're helping the issue go away, kind of sounds like.
Absolutely. And it becomes a win-win in both ways. It's helping the employee, it's helping the business. Once again, businesses are comprised of employees. But by the company, providing this service to their employees, because the employer is the one that pays for it, it takes the cost out of it for the employee. It takes the stigma out of it for the employee. It takes the hassle out of it for the employee. I know counselors. I know EAPs. I love them both. They both do a great job at what they're at, but what we do is kind of different from what they do. We go see them, and we go see everybody. They don't have to pay for our services, so they don't have that to worry about. And the hassle of having to go through all that sort of stuff too, and schedule time and everything, we've just taken care of that for them.
Now, you're rated with the Better Business Bureau, and you are insured valley-wide, also in Tucson. Your website is Resource EC, so Resource E for employee, and then C is for care, ec.com. Let's talk a little bit about your clients and who they are. Go ahead.
We have clients that are across the board, and it's really been fun, because in 13 years of doing this now, you see so many people from so many walks of life doing so many things in so many different companies with their own cultures and tasks and industries and so forth. But basically, it is a variety of businesses that are manufacturing, they're construction, they're high tech, they are architects, they are people that are in sales, high-level sales folks going on across the board. They are property managers. They are all over the board. So we get to walk with them whatever they do. And actually, believe it or not, it's quite fluid, because people are people, bottom line.
How did you come up with this idea?
It wasn't mine originally, and there have been different facets. There's been the workplace chaplaincy movement that actually goes back to the 1930s. That's been somebody that we can really look at and say, okay, that's a good experience. How about EAPs? EAPs have been around a long time. However, they're a 1-800 number in Denver, Dallas, or LA, or wherever. How can we do better? But that's a good concept. counseling. It's a great concept, but there's a stigma attached to it, and you got to set up time and money to go see them. So, but what we basically have tried to do is kind of blend those thoughts together and then overcome the things that can make them a little less opportune for people.
Now, again, they're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're insured valley-wide, also in Tucson. The website is Resource EC, so for employeecare.com. You can also call them. Their number is 602-501-5713. Do you do a consultation with them? How many employees do they have to have? Is there a requirement?
I would say our sweet spot is companies between 15 and 500 employees. That's basically a wide-ranging level. When we meet with employers, a lot of times they're going to be very hesitant, and they should be, because everything we do for the employee and the business is predicated on trust. We've never had one legal situation. We've never had any trust issues. And, you know, we continue to be not only proud of that, but really work hard to make sure we never have to say but one time. So we're doing all those sorts of things, but when we are starting to earn the trust with employees and companies, we're able to go ahead and build those relationships, and it makes us more effective in what we do too. And actually, it's not as hard as you would think. People hear a lot of talk, but they want to see action to back it up. When they start seeing that action, employers are funny too. They'll test you. They'll throw something at you to see if you'll circulate word to somebody else, or something that will breach that trust. You don't do it. You just continue to earn that trust every single time, and you see beautiful things happen.
You know, when you're working with an employee, obviously this is something that is between the two, so it's a private
That's right.
time that you have with them. Is that done over the phone with them? Is it done there away within the office?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that?
It's so, it's so cool too, because once again, everybody is different, but there's such common ties. As far as the 24/7 goes, whether it's phone, text, email, Facebook Messenger is a big one. Those things will dominate. As far as face-to-face stuff, even in cubicle land, you think, no, it'd never work because it's too open space. No, actually, it works very well. We're just touching base on preliminary or surface level or mid-range stuff, whatever the employee's comfortable with, because they're the ones that dictate flow, not me. And so whenever they do that, we talk about what's comfortable right there, or we can step outside, or we can go down to Starbucks or Mickey D's, or I have office space over by ASU that I work with, a partner organization that affords me office space. So we can have private space to talk about private things.
Generally, when someone calls you is it usually someone who's dealing with somebody that, an employee that they're dealing with that has, some sort of an issue? Maybe someone died or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that how it usually starts, or do they hear something like this, have written it down? Do they call because they think it's a good idea just to have on board with their own, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. The big stuff is, I think there are attention getters. We talk about suicide prevention being a biggie. That is a biggie that we've been able to directly take place in. We talk about the death of a loved one. We talk about these traumatic things. One employee died in a motorcycle crash of mine going home near Christmas last year. These things that dominate the headlines are big, and they are worthy of the appropriate attention level. The kicker is, though, that I've found that with people, a lot of times it's the drip stuff in life that really gets us. And we're little, I don't know how many times I've heard this over 13 years. Well, it's bothering me, but it's not as bad as somebody else's. They're the ones that deserve the, the airtime, so to speak. But that drip is wearing us down until one day we go boom, or we go crack, or we go, forget this, I'm walking away. And when we could have really dealt with it before it got to that point. So a lot of times I'm talking to them about that stuff, and we're preventing bad things from happening.
Absolutely. Now, again, maybe it's you. Maybe you're an owner right out there that's listening to this, and you think it might be something to have on board. I don't know how does it work when you are when you said something about the employee's not paying for it, it's the employer that has it for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a nice flat fee for employers. Their invoice looks the same every single month. We're not sitting there and saying, well, we had to make a hospital visit for an employee family member, therefore we're going to charge you an extra 50 or 100 or whatever the case is. Just a nice flat fee, so it takes it off the employer's plate of having to worry about and fret about. And the employee doesn't have to worry about, how am I going to foot this bill? I want to get some help, but I can't afford it, sort of stuff like that. It's a gift from an employer to the employee, because that employer truly cares about them.
Again, too, it could be something that, when something happens in an office, it couldn't, maybe it's not something that directly happened to an employee, but maybe it's something that happened within the,
Agreed.
the workplace that affected the entire place. It happens a lot, I'm sure. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk further about some of the things you can do. We've got, I want to just go ahead and get this out for everybody, the information. It is, they're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're insured. They are also valley-wide, also in Tucson. You can call them. You do a consultation with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so again, that phone number is 602-501-5713. You can check them out on their website. It's Resource E for Employee Care, so ec.com. Again, that number is 602-501-5713. It's resourceec.com. Hold on tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
If I traded it all.
Welcome back. We're talking with Greg Bennett, and he's the Operations Director of Resource Employee Care. So neat that I never knew they had this kind of thing, and that's what I like about my show so much, is that there's so much information out there for people to hear, and this is something that I would think a lot of people don't realize is available to them.
I don't think so, and only about 5% of companies throughout the country will have something similar to this in play. And my question is, why? Why? Why only 5%? Because this is so rampant, and I think, once again, the more proactive we are in helping our guys and gals in the trenches that are working for us, the better they do, the better our company is, the better everything flows.
I agree with that. I think people they think that that's my problem, that's an outside thing, and they might even say to that employee, don't come in the door, leave your problems outside.
Yeah, good luck on that.
But that doesn't happen.
No.
It never happens. And it affects, when something is going on within the office, in one area, it's affecting all areas. So we were talking at the break a little bit about some of the things that you do, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because there are employees that are uncomfortable with talking with their care providers about all of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody's got a story, and that's the beauty of it. The more we get to let that person know they have value, and I want to know their story, you find out that they have a lot of hang-ups from stuff they've experienced before, whatever they may be. And so when they see somebody like me the first time, they may, once again, everything I do is predicated on trust. Trust takes time. Trust is earned. So why should I trust you? That's what I'd be asking if I were them. So what I try and do is let them have control of the reins. This program is beautiful because it's so pliable. It looks like whatever they want it to look like. They take it to wherever they're comfortable, and wherever they're uncomfortable, they don't. And guess what? I'm not going to take it to uncomfortable places. So we have an acronym, CPR, that we use that kind of gives the foundations of who we are and what we do. The C is for confidentiality. Everything we do for these guys and gals is confidential. It means it goes nowhere else. So unless somebody is threatening suicide, is threatening to hurt somebody else, and they mean it, not like I'm going to kill my boss, means I'm going to hurt somebody. Or if they're talking about any kind of child abuse, everything else is confidential. So it goes nowhere else. We're out of the company ladder, so we don't report to anybody. All we do is provide a simple monthly tally, a numerical tally for the owner of the company, and just let them know we haven't been sitting at home on our couch. We're making visits. We're taking phone calls. We're going to the hospital. We're talking with people, that sort of stuff. Everything is confidential. The P is for permission. In other words, they are going to be able to tell us everything they want to and not tell us anything they don't want to. So the program looks like whatever they would like it to look like, because none of it's forced. It's totally voluntary. And the third thing, the R, is for respect. And this is one of the most fun things. I get a little choked up thinking about it. It's one of the most fun things. A lot of times, the thing that we're struggling with in this country, we're demanding respect, but at the same time, we don't feel like we're worthy of it. When I go up there and just love on these folks and take care of them and take a genuine interest in what they're doing and then how to help out and the things that ain't going so well, it's that kind of respect that they find out I am worthy of that respect. And when you can see that click, It's amazing. I have construction workers, big burly dudes crying on site for this. I have people that feel like they don't matter sometimes that are stepping up, and you can feel like there's air in their chest thinking, oh, I can do this. I can take on this big problem. All that stuff.
When you come into a company and you've been hired on
Yeah.
to do it, do you come in and sort of do like a seminar with everybody to let them know, who you are, and that do they have to go through the employer in order to get to you, or if maybe they're dealing with something and want it more confidential, can they call you direct? How does that work?
Absolutely. Although we are an employee-driven program, we are there. We're available for them, once again, 24/7. However they would like it to do, we can keep it as private as they want to. Like I said, I have office space available, so I can talk to them if it's really private stuff. So that's, I will say that is never an issue. We can always find a way around that one. And we also have a small slice of what we do that's geared for the community. We generate some funds to be able to do some work for free for people that aren't affiliated with our companies, whether they're ex-employees. My partner, Daniel Mercado, who's the executive director of what we do, does work for a West Valley Police Department. And we also are active in helping to support our first responders. As far and just people that just find out about us and say, I need some help, and if I don't get it, I don't know what I'm going to do. If nothing else, we can help them, we can get them off the ground, we can assess, and then we can figure out where they need to go.
Well, you got to check it out. I mean, it's really interesting. I think I had talked to you so long ago that I remember talking to you saying you need to really be able to get this word out with this because so I don't think a lot of people realize, again, here's another thing that they may not realize is available to them. And again, maybe you are that employee that's sitting there, and that something's been going on in the office that's been, really causing havoc.
Yes.
Or maybe you're yourself dealing with something and you work with, and you want to tell your employer about it. That's the way this all works. Again, they're rated with the Better Business Bureau, insured valley-wide, also in Tucson. They always do consultations. That phone number is 602-501-5713. The website is Resource EC for employee care, so resourceec.com. Obviously, you seem to love what you do as well. You are very passionate about what you do. So why do you do it?
It's interesting. I'm an occupational mutt. I've done a lot of stuff. You could probably tell I'm from Texas. I've lived all over that state, couple Johnson, Tennessee, Colorado, almost Canada, and then down here since 2005 in the Valley. And you see what I'm doing right now is accumulation of what I've been able to do. My teammate Daniel is from Chile. So you talk about an interesting story via North Carolina to Phoenix. Everybody's got a story. But, the compassion is where it starts for folks. Do you have a sincere care for your folks that we're going to go take care of? People can tell that sort of stuff. And people are not dumb. So, we want to be able to go ahead and let them see our compassion in action. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto us. Our faith is our inspiration, it's our motivation to do what we do. We take care of everybody. That sort of stuff is just, it is wide open with potential. But the fact of the matter is, that's important to us. So we want to do what we want to do because of that, and we're bridge builders. Our society's become so segmented, and there's so much demo work going on to blow up all sorts of bridges, whether people admit it or not. We're the opposite. We build bridges. We want to restore families and relationships, and we want to make people better. We want to make them whole again whenever they've been blown to bits for whatever reason in their life. So that's my inspiration to do what I do.
Well, I know we've been talking a lot about the employees, but when they bring you on, even an employer could be going through something. So it's not just, I just want to say it's for the whole entire company. Am I correct? Or just the employee? One thing. I mean, what happens to the employer?
It is. A lot of times, the most stubborn holdouts in our service at a company are the owners and the leadership team, because they feel like they have to have it together. I'm getting paid or have the position, whatever the case is. Therefore, I have to have it together. And what I've told them countless times, and you need to respect our leaders, our owners, things like that. Make sure it's in the right setting. But we always tell them, too, hey, don't forget, you count as well.
Absolutely.
You are just as worthy of care as anybody else. And that whole saying, it's lonely at the top. for whatever reason, it often is.
Oh, absolutely, I'm sure. Again, that number to call them, if you want to write it down, it is 602-501-5713. They do consultations. You want to check them out on their website. It's resourceec for employeecare.com. So let's sum it up real quickly, the benefits again for your services.
Absolutely. Well, you said it earlier. I can't remember if it was on break or live, but people's problems don't end. They don't stop at the front door of a business. It would be lovely if that were the case. However, it's just not true. We carry them into our service trucks. We carry them in our cubicles, in our offices, and our job sites, and our sales floors. That we carry them everywhere. So we are there to overcome and help people not only cope with what they have, we want to help them once again overcome those things. If you think about it, that yields several things. Better employees, and once again, a company is a sum total of its employees. So better companies, a more effective HR department because they're able to do what they're supposed to do instead of putting out fires in personal problem realm. Better employee satisfaction. We have better employee retention. I had an employee one time that told me he stayed on 2 years longer than he had intended to at a company because he loved this service. And we allow businesses to focus on, guess what? Business instead of focus.
You know what, this is something that if you didn't know was available to you, you might want to write it down. Again, that number to call is area code 602-501-5713. Whether it's you, maybe you're the employer, maybe you're the employee. Give them a call. They do free, it's a consultation
Absolutely.
That you will get.
We can figure that out.
Again, it is, they're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're insured, also valley-wide, also in Tucson. You want to check them out on the website. It is resourceec.com for employee care. So again, resourceec.com, or give them a call. That number is 602-501-5713. Networking, it makes a difference.
You should be mine across that line. If I traded it